to make sure that I get as much food as possible into my system at the end of every day on a consistent basis, the better.
I'm going to have to disagree. Coach Greg, in today's video, one of, if not the most popular fitness influencer in the world, he's back to his winter bulk. And so Sam Sulek no longer in a cut, and so clearly he's back on a bulk. He's either cutting and or bulking. And so I'm looking at the thumbnail and he's got pictures of Breyer's ice cream, and me, I personally love ice cream. It's my favorite cheat meal. And so I can't wait to see, is his winter bulk going to be worse off than last time? Is he going to be having chocolate milk, burgers, fries, or is this time he going to be a little bit healthier?
But earlier today when I was doing cardio, one of my buddies has a dynamometer. So once I finished cardio, I was kind of shooting shit with them. Left hand grip strength, 205 pounds, right hand, 197.
And so before getting to the winter bulk, I thought this was very interesting. His left hand versus right hand grip strength. He used a hand dynamometer. I can't even pronounce it right, but he produced some significant power, 197 versus 205 pounds. Let me put that into perspective. 205 pounds, it's 93 kilograms. And in case you're wondering, that is in fact more than the world's strongest man, Mitchell Hooper. And so if you're thinking, oh, this guy doesn't have amazing genetics, not only does he walk the walk, not only was he a platform diver, very athletic guy, freaky physique, shredded, the guy is also significantly stronger in hand strength than almost everyone, including the world's strongest man, Mitchell Hooper.
Oh. Oh.
Man, is it not struggling to get a back pose? Ugh. Apparently, it's harder to pose the back than it is to train the back. I don't know if he makes these sounds while doing lat pull downs, but he's flexing the back, and apparently it's very difficult to flex the back without making serious noises. But what I can tell you is when you're cutting and dieting, it's much harder to hold these poses. Your body's cramping up. It's very difficult. But when you're in a bulk off season, flexing harder than last time, it should be very easy. And honestly, he seems to be struggling to do the lat spread, the front double bicep pose. Perhaps it's his flexibility. He's got so much muscle, he's not as flexible. He perhaps needs to do like Coach Greg and join a yoga class.
Oh my gosh.
He's having a hard time posing for more than 1 second, and he's struggling making yelp noises as he's flexing. Perhaps a little bit more practice, he'll be much more fluid in his posing.
For one thing, I just haven't gone to the grocery for a while, but a lot of my food is already bad. I gotta replenish, I gotta fill up the kitchen. The last thing I want to do is be strapped for food at 11 p.m. at night, not hit my, calorie surplus.
And so his first tip is to have plenty of food at the house. Many people, they buy food perhaps once a week and they let their groceries go down. And if you don't have anything healthy, you don't have anything good in the house, you're going to go out and grab whatever you can find. Or perhaps you're hungry, it's 11 p.m. Are you really going out to the store and buying some chicken breast? Or are you just going to grab that chocolate bar of cookies that's in the pantry? And so please be proactive, shop around, buy healthy food, and have it ready and available at all times.
The name of the game with bulking is calorie intake.
And so the name of the game with bulking is calorie intake. He's trying to get as many calories as humanly possible in order to put on as much size as quickly as he can. Now, remember, this works for Sam Sulek. I'm not arguing with him. He's clearly shredded. He can eat as many calories. He doesn't get fat. But for most people, if you're looking to bulk, it's not a matter of eating as much as humanly possible. It's about being in a slight calorie surplus. It only takes approximately 2,700 calories to put on 1 pound of muscle. And so if you want to put on 1 pound of muscle a week, which is a lot, think of it, 52 pounds of muscle a year, that is a lot. You need to consume 385 calorie surplus each and every day. And so do you really think you need to be on a 1,000 calorie or more surplus in order to put on muscle? Because even with performance enhancing drugs, and you say you're going on a 10-week bulk, in 10 weeks, 10 pounds of muscle, you only need 385 extra calories per day. And so if you're in a 500 plus calorie surplus each and every day, do you really think the majority of those calories are going to turn to muscle? Or do you think it's going to turn to fat? And so for most people going on a bulk, it's not a matter of getting in as many calories as possible. It's just a matter of getting in a little bit more calories than you're currently eating.
To make sure that I get as much food as possible into my system at the end of every day on a consistent basis, the better.
I'm going to have to disagree. If you just eat a lot of shit foods, for example, McDonald's, milkshakes, burgers, fries, and so on, and you think that that's going to put on quality muscle just because you're in a calorie surplus, think again. You still need to consume protein, you need to have fiber, minerals, vitamins, you need to be eating healthy. If all you're doing is eating shit food, you're going to have a shit physique. Yeah, you can get away for it for a while, especially if you're on performance-enhancing drugs, but you need to have minimal amounts of protein, and if you're neglecting the vitamins and minerals, do you really think you're going to be building muscle optimally?
This is always the start of my freaking grocery trips. Milk aisle.
And so the first thing he's going for is milk. Milk is dairy, and of course, if you're lactose intolerant, it might be difficult for you to consume a lot of milk, but to me, milk is a healthy product. If you're not vegan, vegetarian, then I see no reason why you can't consume milk. And listen, if you need to get into all those calories, if you're really struggling, you're single-digit body fat, and you just are never hungry, then I do agree having homogenized milk with higher fat intake, it's going to be higher in calories and make it easier to get your calorie needs. But for most people don't need to go on 1,000 calorie plus bulk. And so just consuming regular milk, for example, skim 1 or 2%, that's going to be plenty healthy.
And that'll counteract the 300 calories of daily cardio, at least, which you should be doing per day. Obviously, I need to get myself a little treat as well.
And to add in the chocolate milk, I mean, if you really need those calories and you're doing your cardio and you're healthy, then sure, why not? But if you're a guy who's already got, for example, 20% body fat and you're going on a bulk, if you don't have abs and you're bulking, do you really think those extra calories are just suddenly going to turn a muscle? Listen, I know it's fun to think that if you just go on a massive bulk, that's going to all turn on to muscle, that magically you're going to look like Sam Sulek. But in the real world, it doesn't work like this. The science supports what I'm saying. And so in the real world, if you consume all these extra calories, they're simply going to turn to unwanted body fat.
Actually, let's backtrack a little bit. I kind of want a thing of lemonade for the workout.
And so also he's grabbing in some lemonade. Remember, if you're in a bulk, rather than drinking water, you're smarter to consume things with calories in it. And so instead of water, he's drinking milk or perhaps juice. And so in the gym, rather than drinking in your water, you can drink in your juice. Maybe it's apple juice, orange juice, lemon juice, whatever juice you want to drink. If it's got calories, it's going to add to your calorie needs. Next up, bagels and cream cheese. I mean, rather than bagels, you could have had bread, you could have had muffins, you could have had pretzels. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're getting in a carb source that you like, that is going to add calories very quickly. Cream cheese, in my opinion, not the best source of calories, but if you're really struggling and you can't eat anything, then you have to eat what you like. If you're struggling to get in calories, it's not only important to eat high calorie dense foods, but also to eat foods that you like. Let's face it, if you don't like a certain food, for example, if you don't like bagels and cream cheese, even though it's got a lot of calories, are you really going to eat it? Probably not. And so when trying to bulk or cut, make sure that you enjoy the foods in your diet plan.
Honestly, I've been slacking when it comes to my hydration. I need to get back on my routine of right in the morning having like not a gallon, but like a half a gallon worth of, some kind of electrolyte mix plus some aminos.
And so he says he's been slacking on his hydration, that he wakes up in the morning, he should be consuming a half a gallon of liquid. To me, that is a lot. Half a gallon, approximately 2 liters, that's about 4 pounds of liquids. If you're trying to bulk and you're filling your stomach with water, you're not going to be as hungry. When you drink more fluids, it makes you less hungry. It's going to be harder to bulk. And so even if you're drinking water with a lot of sugar in it and so on, it's still going to make you less hungry for the solid foods you're going to be eating. And so my opinion, drinking that much water in the morning, that is not going to be conducive to a healthy bulk. It's going to actually make it harder to eat the real food that you're trying to eat. Not saying you shouldn't wake up and stay hydrated, but 2 liters, a half a gallon, that is a lot. Perhaps a half a liter to 1 liter, that makes more sense. You don't want to wake up being dehydrated, but if you're eating 5,000 plus calories a day and drinking plenty of fluid during the day, there's no reason you should be waking up dehydrated.
I've already got a ton of rice, like instant rice packets at home, so I'm pretty much covered when it comes to carb sources.
And so what he's already purchased is rice. He has several rice packets. He's going to be eating that very often. Now remember, if you're bulking, it doesn't have to be rice. It could have been oatmeal. It could have been spaghetti. It could have been any form of pasta, breads, and so on. The thing is, eat what you like. He likes rice. Maybe you like potatoes. Perhaps you like bread. Eat the foods that you enjoy.
I've been doing primarily red meats for a while, and I really do feel like I can feel a difference. I mean, be it the high amounts of iron or the animal fats and the cholesterol and whatever else.
And so Sam, a big fan of red meats, he says perhaps it's the iron, the fats, whatever. I do believe the reason he likes red meats is because they're higher in calories. When you're bulking, it's easier to get calories from foods that have more fats. Red meat, in comparison to, for example, a chicken breast or egg whites, a lot more calorie dense. And so if you're bulking, trying to eat more high calorie dense foods, it makes more sense to add in red meat versus, for example, chicken breast.
Chicken, I have been hearing murmurs that prepping it in the sous vide is sweet.
And so he brings up having chicken in a sous vide. I have a sous vide here at home making steaks and so on. Tenderloins, filet mignon. It's absolutely amazing. It's always cooked to perfection. And so speaking from experience, if you can get a sous vide, I highly, highly recommend it. And so first up, 2 packs of ground beef, going to be high calories. Obviously a good choice. He says ribeye, sometimes he doesn't like that. It's almost got too much fat. And so this goes to show that you need to like the foods that you're eating. Even though the ribeyes are higher in fat, if he doesn't like eating that fat, then it's not going to be a good choice for his diet. And so when picking out your foods for your bulk, make sure you absolutely enjoy what you're eating. I mean, after all, if you're going to be eating a lot of food, should you not enjoy what you're eating? Imagine you're bulking all the time, you're force feeding, you're not hungry. Why would you want to force feed on foods that you don't even like? At least if you love the foods that you're eating, it's going to be much easier to get them down.
You know, at the end of the day, that is all food with carbs, fats, and proteins. There's nothing inherently special about any of them.
And so he's saying chicken, broccoli, rice, nothing is inherently special about that. Food is food. He's grabbing a baguette and he says this is so easy to eat with 40 grams of olive oil. And just think of it, 9 grams of fat per 1 gram times 40, that's 360 calories just added onto the bread. And so perhaps there's 1,000 calories in total. Very easy. And so if you're really, truly struggling to bulk, and I do believe that most people are not, I don't believe for 1 second that the majority of you need to eat so many calories that you're never ever hungry. But for Sam, this is the case. For some professional bodybuilders, this is the case. But for most people, and anyone over 20% body fat, I don't recommend bulking. But if you're shredded, single-digit body fat, and you need to put on muscle quickly, then certainly go for a bulk.
Obviously, it's probably going to be in your best interest in a muscle building context to get your gram per pound of protein in with high quality sources of protein.
And so remember, he says it's very important 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight from quality sources. And so don't just skip out on your protein. You can't just have ice cream, burgers, and fries. You need to make sure you're getting in your quality protein.
Proteins that are high up on the whatever they call it, protein grading scale. Milks, eggs, meats, fish, chicken.
And he talks about eating proteins from a high protein grading scale. And what he's referring to is that not all proteins are equal. If, for example, you have protein from plant sources like beans, or you're getting from legumes and so on, these do not offer the same amino acid profile as if you're getting from animal foods such as steak. And so please be careful. If you get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, but it's all from legumes versus 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight from steak, big difference. And so those of you who are vegans or vegetarians, you have to be doubly sure to get in enough protein. If you're eating all steak sources, I'm certain you can get away with less than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And so depending on the source of foods that you're eating, depending on the quality of the protein, you may or may not need more or less protein.
But when it comes to sweets and whatever else, I'm a little bit less picky. You know, I don't mind a whole tub of ice cream or like a ton of Gatorade or, you know, whatever, because that's all just, you know, carbs and fats.
And so he says he's not picky with the rest. The carbs and fat, it doesn't matter. Personally, I do think it actually matters. I'm not hating on the guy, but I do believe it's important to take in quality fats. For example, your omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fishes, a lot healthier than, for example, getting in your fats from ice cream, chips, cookies, and so on. I don't believe anyone's going to argue that. I'd rather people be getting in fats from avocados and salmon or perhaps halibut than getting in your fats from cookies and ice creams and chips.
But it's still hard for me to grasp how disconnected people are from that reality. If you're not losing body fat and you think you're on a diet, it doesn't mean that you're a 1 in a trillion outlier and dieting doesn't work for you. It just means that you're eating too many calories.
And Sammy gets this. If you're bulking, you need to be in a calorie surplus. And if you're cutting, you need to be in a deficit. And so if you're dieting, you're not losing any weight, it's simple. You're not actually in a deficit. It's as plain as day. If you think, oh, I'm dieting, I'm in a diet, I'm not losing weight, something wrong with my metabolism, and I'm all screwed up, and poor me. It's not poor you. It's not that your metabolism screws up. It's that you're not in a calorie deficit. If you want to lose weight, burn off more calories than you consume. And if you want to gain weight, eat more than you burn off. It's that simple. And so glad to see he believes in the calories in, calories out logic. He's not in Bart K's universe. Remember? He realizes if you're not gaining weight, you need to eat more. And not just more food, more calories.
5,000 calorie days. I gotta make sure that that intake does not fluctuate in the slightest.
And so he's very serious. He's not going to allow his calories to fluctuate. He needs 5,000 calories a day. His physique, he says, is going to change immediately. He's going to be bulking up. He's only on the start of his bulk, and so he expects his weight to go up. Body should put on a lot of weight, be more full. He's going to be glycogen stores are going to be loaded. Each gram of carbs stores transfers 3 grams of water into the muscle, and so he should be looking very swole in no time, as if he already isn't. And so hopefully this helps. If you're struggling to get food, you're at single-digit body fat, you're needing to gain weight, perhaps you can go and watch the original video from Sam Sulek, learn from him. He offers great advice. He's telling you his honest opinions on what he thinks you should do in the real world. And my only caveat to this is that I personally don't think that most people need to bulk. Some people do, yes, but most people are already on a bulk. If you're already at 20% body fat or more, you're already bulked. You don't need to bulk up more. And so if you're skinny fat but have 20% body fat or more, you don't need to suddenly eat more calories to put on muscle. In the end, your genetics are going to determine how much muscle you put on. If you're looking for natural supplements to help you out, consider G-Test or GO2 Max. Of course, this is to help increase your testosterone levels. GO2 Max give you more energy, endurance, able to train harder than last time in the gym. And of course, we have creatine, beta-alanine, CICO protein bars, protein pre-workouts. The list goes on and on. And if you're not into bulking and you'd like to cut or main gain, obviously you can check out Cookbook 3.0 or any of my cookbooks. And remember, I have a clothing line as well as training books and the Circle diet book, my life's work, how to lose weight, keep it off for the rest of your life. Go and give Sam Sulek a follow, although you probably already do. Subscribe and click the bell button and like this video if you liked it. Add a comment, please. Also watch one of those 2 bloops. And until next time, I am out.